hands of Tristan Payton, but another beautifully placed ball.
It wasn't a double coverage. Tristan Payton has had one whale of a second quarter here, Dan. You looked at the TD catch that he had, and it was just some phenomenal coverage for Team East to prevent 2-for-2 touchdowns, if you will. And all of a sudden, it's Team East that looks to attempt a real long field goal here. That'll be Team East's own Daniel LaCamera, who missed one from 45. This one's from 50. He had the game-breaking field goal from 25 earlier on in the quarter. So it looks like after the timeout, they'll still elect to kick a field goal.
So a very rare timeout by the kicking team. You know, usually it's the other side trying to ice the kicker. But in this case, Rich Hansen, East coach, wants to go over something, wants to know if all his blocking scheme is placed perfectly, doesn't want any mistakes now. He wants to go into the half. They're up 13-0.
Well, let's take this quick timeout to give all of the National Sports Radio Station a reminder, and all of those who are listening, at the ripe age of 49, one of the best to do it, ESPN anchor and analyst Stuart Scott died of cancer. And my early impressions is if anyone wants to become not only a great broadcaster or a great person in this life, but just an overall great man, no better role model than, at 49, Stuart Scott.
Yeah, you and I could definitely relate. I mean, that's the type of job we want.
Right.
I mean, when we turn on the television and put on ESPN, that's who we, want to emulate and conduct ourselves like, is Stuart Scott. So as soon as I heard that this morning, I got down.
Right.
I mean, because to us, this is what we want to do, broadcasting.
That's right.
So it kind of hit home. Yeah.
It's one of those guys where no matter what, if he's even your biggest competitor, if you will, you still can't help but root for the guy.
You still can't. I mean, after all he went through with the whole terminal illness that he had, and you can't help but just not cheer for the guy and root for him. And
he emphasized that he didn't lose the battle with cancer because he lived quite the life, even after he knew he was diagnosed with cancer, did absolutely everything he can to live a life that very few can, which is absolute perfection and humble. It's team first, if you will. And all of a sudden, Stuart Scott at 49, unfortunately, passes away with cancer. Just a reminder here for the National Sports Radio Station. We all give our biggest condolences, if you will, to a man who has done so much for the ESPN and overall national community. Daniel Camara, Texas A&M kicker, commit, if you will attempt this one from 50 at the right hash. Lawson with the hold. Snap ball down. Kick is on the way, but it looks like it's short again, and is. It had the accuracy, but was about 5 or 6 yards short of the goalpost. And Team West will have 1 second to try and go 80 yards here. I think you just maybe run the football.
Yeah, you got to just run it out. I mean, just kneel the ball down. But a small moral victory for the West.
It still is a 10-point game. If he's able to make those 2 kicks, it'd be a 16-0 ball game. Still very much in it is Team West. At the halftime report here on the National Sports Radio Station, we'll have a guest analyst from the Marine Corps to join us here for the National Sports Radio Station. We'll get you news and updates from around the Semper Fidelis All-American Bowl. This is the third installment here over the last 7 days of high school All-Pro, Pro Bowl, if you will, games. The other 2 coming out of the East here in the United States. 1 in Texas, and Dan, I believe, the other in Florida.
That's right. So there's 3 major All-American games that occur at the high school level. The best one is the Under Armour game, which took place on Friday, I believe.
Right.
I'm not sure who won that one. We'll bring you updates at halftime. And then the second one would be the Army All-American game, which took place yesterday. And here we are in the third best one, the Semper Fi All-American Bowl game.
This still is among the best overall bowl games in the country. This has been quite the showing here in the first half. And I've always been somewhat of a fan of defensive play, and we've come to the absolute perfect place. But I would like to see a little more fight for Team West in the second half. They've done a nice job at their own end of the football field, but A majority of their drives have stalled right before a scoring position on a first down to end the half. A handoff good for a yard out to Jamichael Hasty, and a fitting way to end the first half. At the end of 24 minutes in the books, and it's been nothing but defense. Team East was able to break the scoring drought with a touchdown connection. Tristan Payton on the receiving end of that. And Team East, it's been a dogfight, but they lead 10-0 here from Carson, California. We'll step aside for news and updates of the National Sports Halftime Report as we'll send it over to Dan. What do you have, Dan?
So here we are with our special guest. So introduce yourself, young man.
Hey, how you doing? My name's Captain Dave By, United States Marine Corps. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So you guys have put together a wonderful event. Thank you for having us here. You guys have shown us nothing but love here in the broadcast booth. Anything we've asked of, you guys have commended us and offered us and given us. So thank you guys for having us on board here in the broadcast booth. And talk about this event, when it started and why it was started.
First of all, thanks for having me, and absolutely, it's all about service. So, we're here to give you what you need, and that's what Marines do, give back to the community. So That's what this bowl game's all about, and part of selecting these players was getting that full quality citizen. So, a lot of these players exhibit excellence, not only on the field, but also off the field in their communities with service, also education in school. So, yeah, we like to show off their physical prowess, but also, off the field, there's some outstanding individuals we have here.
So you mentioned a lot of the selection process not only has to do with what they are able to do on the field, but also outside the field. And what are some of the things that some of these kids individually have done? Pick one player or pick something that you saw that just stood out and said, hey, that guy belongs on the roster.
Yeah, sure. The player that comes to mind for me was actually Frank Buncombe. And he actually isn't playing tonight, but he had the chance to come out here. But I got to talk to him for a little while, and that is an individual that just absolutely embodies, the player we're trying to represent for this bowl game. So
yeah, you're talking about Frank Buncombe out of St. Augustine High School in San Diego, California. He's actually one of the top safeties in the country and might possibly land in Stanford. That's just my prediction. But about this game, early on, 10-0, the East is dominating. The West is in a struggle. We'll get you stats and updates as we continue here in the halftime report. Thank you for welcoming. Thank you for joining us here tonight on the National Sports Broadcasting Station on Spreaker.com. This is the Semper Fidelis All-American Bowl here in Carson, California, and we'll continue here with our. What's your actual position in the Marine Corps? How high of a ranking? Give us your overall job description. Talk to me.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I'm a captain, so that's a company grade officer.
Okay.
Kind of middle of the road there for as far as officer ranks go, or even on the lower side, as some would see it. But I love my job. I'm a public affairs officer, so getting out here and working with the media, and then snagged you guys up here for a broadcast. I'm very appreciative of that. But, I've been in for about 5 years now, a few deployments out of Okinawa, Japan with that expeditionary unit out there. But living in San Diego now, loving sunny California, and glad to have you out here with us.
A lot of kids are listening in. A lot of kids who are in high school possibly might be looking into entering one of the services. Whether it's the Army, Marine Corps, Navy, it doesn't matter. It's all about servicing, like you say. What are some of the benefits that an individual might get out of joining, let's say, the Marine Corps like you did?
Well, one of the benefits and aspects I would say that sets the Marine Corps apart is sheer discipline. And we saw that all during the week with the players, having the drill instructors down there with them on the field, and quite frankly, whooping it on them, too. Talking to some of those players afterwards, they're pretty beat up. But, some of the characteristics you learn through training in the Marine Corps and just out there in the fleet, you take with you for the rest of your life. So, just full-bodied character, integrity, honor, commitment, discipline. These are all things that, we do in our business here at the Marine Corps that no one else.
You've mentioned discipline is one of the biggest things, and you've been in the Marines for 5 years, you say, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
What's the biggest thing you've gotten out of it?
Oh, well, I'd say adventure for me.
Yeah.
Right away I got to like I said, got the chance to deploy out of Okinawa, Japan, and got to see
nice.
all different countries out of the Asia Pacific do things like humanitarian assistance and disaster relief in the wake of some typhoons and earthquakes. And it's just a great thing to be able to go out there and help people too.
Yeah.
So. We do combat operations around the world as well, but we have that other side that we like to expose as well. So
cool. If you were talking to a kid who's possibly thinking about joining the service, what would you tell them?
I'd say first thing, get in shape.
We
don't want any kids out there that don't know how to have that physical competence out there, because that's required of us. And we kind of push those Department of Defense standards to the limit compared to the other branches. So we like young men and women that are in shape too. Right. We like leaders. So anything that is exhibited in their community, in their high schools, people who are like team captains, leading student clubs, things like that. But those characteristics are what are kind of blossoming in these young men and women, and then we take that to the next level in the Marine Corps and make those talents shine.
So Captain Ball is here from the United States Marine Corps joining us at halftime. 10-0, the East is leading the West here at the 2015 Semper Fi Bowl, All-American Bowl, that is. And you talked about some of the characteristics that are that it takes to be in the Marine Corps. Let's talk a little bit about football.
Yeah.
What about this second half? I mean, the East is looks like they're totally dominating on the defensive side. The West has got to do something. What would you, as a coach, I want you to put on your coach's hat, what would you tell the West as far as coming out this second half?
Boy, I'll tell you, West needs to make some moves here in the second half. Watching them practice all week, it looked like they had some pretty good competency as a team coming together, and definitely saw that jiving on and off the field. So, I'm expecting them to have a good presence here in the second half. With that being said, definitely seen some defensive prowess from the East side. So if I was the coach, I would say, hey guys, this is your shot. You got one more half to come out here and prove to the nation as they're watching that West Coast can bring it.
That's right.
This is their last chance to show all these new college commits out there what they can bring to the table. So they got to take advantage of this opportunity.
A word of advice for the East. With them on the lead, what does the East side tell them?
Boy, to me, I say just keep capitalizing on those opportunities. I think we've almost seen a couple key turnovers here, and I think they should just keep looking for those opportunities and capitalizing on that. So,
well said, Captain Ball. Thank you for your service. Thank you for being a Marine and protecting my well-being, the country's well-being, Nick's well-being. Appreciate you here.
Thanks for the support, brother. We love citizens who support us like you.
We appreciate you guys and what you guys have put together here tonight, and thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity to come down.
The East is leading 10-0 on top of the West here at the 2015 Semper Fi All-American Bowl. That was Captain Ball who joined us here in the booth at halftime. We'll continue here. Nick, these stats are looking kind of light, don't they?
Again, thank you all for joining us. This is the Semper Fidelis All-American Bowl, a contest of 99 of the greatest players to do it here, high school football in the country. And, of course, one of the greatest players to come out of the East. They're L.J. Scott, many call him Larry Scott, a man who set several Ohio records for rushing the football, had 2,800 yards on the ground, 38 TDs as a senior at Hubbard High School, the top rusher in the state of Ohio. He's led the way running the football for the East, 6 carries, 34 yards. He's a thumper. He's a man that will never get down short of the line of scrimmage, and he has been quite the player thus far in this football game, 5.7 yards per carry, and that really has been most of the difference in this football game. East is out gaining the West in total offense, 193-75. Running the football, they lead 90-33. They have the edge in the passing yardage as well. They also have gotten away from the turnover bug as West fumbled the football and East was able to capitalize. And just overall, this is a team here that has been quite efficient here. In the first half, overall run and defense.
Well, for both sides, I'll bring up the offense, of course, because it's been a defensive battle. And it's really tough for both sides to get in rhythm because, sure, you're listed as a starter, but it's hard to get in rhythm because you're constantly being pulled out of the game. You don't know.
That's the other thing.
You're not going to stay there 3 to 4, even a whole possession.